Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Chess.com Global Championship Finals, live from Toronto. Not in the studio, but now upstairs in my very own hotel room. A recap of day number one. I haven't taken anything off. Look, I still got my caster thing, still got my suit, just said hello and also goodbye to all of the great people downstairs as the games have ended, and I'm back up here on the grind for all of you. Day one was spectacular. Now, let me take you through this. Single elimination knockouts. We have Hikaru Nakamura, Jan Krzysztof Duda. The winner of that matchup will play the winner of Wesley So and Dmitry Andreikin. Then we go to the other side. We have Anish Giri, Timur Radjabov. The winner of that matchup will play Nihal Sarin versus Sam Sevian. Now, why Sam Sevian? Sam Sevian was knocked out in the round of 16 against Levon Aronian. Levon Aronian withdrew from the event because he actually just had a baby. And it would have been tough for him to travel just seeing as that had occurred, and Sevian, being the one that just most recently played Levon, was given another opportunity to compete. So those are the matchups. Now, the way this works is today they play 4 rapid games. Tomorrow they play the rest. It's best of 8. So it's not like if you win the best of 4 on day 1, and then you win the best of 4 on day 2. For example, let's say on day 1 you win 3-1, and then you lose a very close match on the next day. No, it's best of 8. So the first person to get to 4.5 is the winner. If it's 4-4, they play an Armageddon game, so slightly different format than other online events. Just a great day. I'm going to take you through it. I've got tons of energy. And thank you to the players and you guys for tuning in. I've been trying to be as active on social media about this event as I've ever been. I'm constantly posting photos and behind the scenes, so do get involved. All right? Twitter, Instagram, wherever it is, and obviously YouTube. You're watching this right now. So, all right, we're going to kick things off in the matchup between Nihal Sarin and Sam Sevian. One of them has a username, Nihal Sarin. The other one is Kanavitz, but that's his username on chess.com. This is game number 2, and Sevian in this game opts for, well, actually, it's really knight f66. Nihal Sarin, who opts for an invitation to the Nimzo Indian defense, allowing this kind of a position. Now, white plays the move e3 and bishop d2. This is a very trendy line nowadays, with the intention being to take on c3 at some moment with the bishop, and then let me, I'm on my laptop right now. This is actually going to be kind of fun. You're probably going to hear some, are you sure you want to close this, you know, I had chess base open. I had a few large RAM eating programs open, and I'm on my laptop here traveling, so I don't want the fan to get too noisy. Anyway, all right, programs have been closed. Terrific. Let us continue with our recap. So we have bishop to d2 here, and d5, right? Knight f3, b6, clarification of the position very early, and Sevian just developing his pieces, seizing control of the center, and he's going to put that knight on e4. We're going to have a trade here, right? And c7 is going to be taken, so knight, oh, okay. Never mind. Castle c6, certainly we're going to have a trade. Oh, no. Neither guy wants to trade with the other, all right? Nobody's trading. Nihal rotates his knight over this way, and the game gets real spicy because Sevian plays a move g6, which is obviously a defensive move against the idea knight f5. But a couple of moves later, Sam Sevian plays the move h5. This is a declaration of violence upon Nihal Sarin. All right, it's going to be kind of hard for Sevian to actually get his hands on Sarin because Sarin's playing from a location in Belgrade, Serbia. So right now it's Sarin, Radjabov, and Andreikin, the 3 players who are unable to travel for visa reasons. They are in Serbia because that way a fair play team can have one location. Otherwise, you would need to send 3 fair play teams out to where those guys are. And Sevian in this game traded a few pieces, reactivated his light-scored bishop. This is a brilliant idea. This was, up until this moment, was relatively brilliant. And now the computer just wants black to take the pawn and allow this pressure. You may ask yourself, why c5? Why did the black not take the free material? It's a great question. The queen would have been trapped. Oops. So the bishop is not actually hanging. The move c5, though, is trying to get white to slow down on the queen side a little bit. And now h4 is on the way. Couple of things are hanging, and when the queen takes the bishop, queen will be able to escape because the knight is gonna have to move. We get c6 counterattack. Bishop gets out of the way. Now the queen side's a bit frozen. That bishop is very powerful. And Sevian, when all the dust settles, finds himself up material. Finds himself up what we call an exchange, a rook for a bishop. But it's really bad also because Sarin loses his advanced pawn. And now the only thing Sarin has here is a counterattack on the black king. Sevian looks for a queen trade. Nihal doesn't want a queen trade. Sevian doubles up his rooks and just continues to just throw. He's throwing everything but the kitchen sink. Only thing that hasn't moved is his a pawn, and Sevian says, "You want to attack my king? Yeah, good luck." No, seriously, I'm serious. Good luck, right? And here comes my knight. We'll see whose king is going to be attacked. Okay, knight to d3, king g3, queen d6 check, and when all was said and done, the material was hung onto, and the white king was mercilessly hunted, as was the knight, and Sam Sevian won the game in 44 moves in emphatic fashion. Not only that, Sam Sevian was actually winning in game 4 of their match as well. He almost won today 3-1. He almost scored 3 of the necessary 4.5 points, which is insane. Okay, Sam Sevian is one of the only 8 players, he's the one of 8, who qualified to this event. You say, what does that mean? This event had 64 players to begin with. 32 were invited to play. All 7 players in this final were invited to play, but Sam Sevian qualified. He beat, I believe it was Samvelter Sahakian or some, I believe that was who he beat. And then he defeated Maxime Vacher-Legraf. I don't have all the graphics here, but that was his journey. And now he's up after getting a ticket back. Folks, when was the last time, seriously, can one of you find a quarterfinals ever where a team or a person in the quarterfinal had just lost in the previous round of 16, but still made it because of disqualification, or in this case, it's not really disqualification. Fascinating. So fantastic start for Kanavitz, fantastic start for Nihal Sarin, for Sam Sevian. Not a great start for Nihal Sarin. And this is a really interesting matchup too, because Giri and Radjabov have 2 of the most balanced styles in the event. Anish has this meme unfairly associated with him about being a draw master. Really, Radjabov actually has lost the least amount of games over the last couple of years. I believe Chess.com had a stat. He has a 6% loss rate. 6! You have a 96% loss rate. I'm just kidding. It's not that good. Yours is probably worse. Just kidding. Please bear with me. But Anish Giri does have that reputation because in the candidates tournament that he played some years ago, he made many draws. All his games were drawn, despite them being topsy-turvy. But they're very balanced players. And this is game number 3, and they played 2 Rasalimos when Radjabov had the black pieces. Rasalimo Sicilian being a very closed position, maneuvering style Sicilian without this move d4, which is very closely associated with just general Sicilian play. Now, right now, Anish does something fascinating. He backs the bishop out of b5 to attack the knight, and then he backs it out again. 2 retreating moves to tie black's position kind of together, and now white is coming in with knight c4. Fantastic opening idea here from Anish. Timur tries to repeat moves, and now we have this idea, and Anish gets to this spot on the board where black is really being pushed back with no central pawn presence whatsoever. Anish very quickly locks in that pawn on e5, and it's very tough for black to move. For example, let's say black plays the move f6, right? With the intention of pawn takes, something like bishop takes, and getting rid of that pawn. Yeah, believe it or not, this is exactly what white wants. Because white's attack just suddenly just bubbles, percolates, queen d5, h4, h5 when you want it. I mean, that's coming as well. So fantastic position for white if that were to happen. So instead of that, Timur literally just chucks the pawn. He says, Anish, you proved your point, your prep is good, you're up a pawn, here you go, get out of my face. Anish is like, I'm not in your face because you couldn't make it to Toronto, bozo. I don't think they were actually saying any of this back and forth to each other, but I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know if they can hear each other. Now, so I'm going to keep us moving here for a few moves because I did commentary on this game live. By the way, if you're not watching live, 12 p.m. Eastern every day, stop writing me comments like, what time is the commentary? Okay? I got so many comments. What time is it? I'm in the UK. Add 5 hours to New York. It's not that hard. 12 p.m. New York City time every day for the next 5 days. All right, you do the math. Now, up until this moment, right here, there was a moment we could have had a threat of a repetition. But actually, Anish, right here, we just go back a couple of moves. Queen d6. Right here, Anish was winning with rook d5. Rook d5 won on the spot. I don't know exactly what he missed, but essentially what happens is the queen is stuck. And if the queen goes back, we have a big exchange. And, I mean, white is just 2 pawns up. I mean, there's just no questions asked. White wins this position 100% of the time, basically. Queen c5, though, and so I fast forward to right here because from this point forward, the players have less than 1 minute. It was a very tense maneuvering game where Anish was up a pawn. It was very hard for him to prove the point. He's up a pawn, but how does he actually take advantage of the pawn up, right? Okay, he has up a c-pawn, but it's a very tense position, and haymakers are being thrown on the king side, and the game opened up. So both players here thought down to 30 seconds and played the very thunderous moves a6, a3. basically not knowing what to do. And then Radjabov went ballistic, and he sacrificed. We had a threat of a repetition, no draw. He sacrificed his light squared bishop right here. Sacked the bishop to open things up, but he realized queen takes h3. Just queen back to h2. There is no attack. And Timur tried to throw in bishop to e5, a very tricky move, because if knight e5, now you've blocked your own queen. But Anish was cool, calm, and collected and found the amazing queen to d7, offering the exchange of queens once again, and that was it. Timur had to sidestep, and the rest of the game was played again with like seconds on the clock. Very nervous game. Anish very nervously defending his position, but he forces some exchanges. Just so you are aware, there is no blunder of a queen anywhere here. This is knight is pinned. And listen, Anish Giri is good, but he's extra good when he's up a bishop. So he wins the only game of the match against Radjabov, and he has a 1-game lead, 2.5 to 1.5, 3 draws and a win for Anish. Big day. So right now, Giri and Sevian are the leaders after day 1, but obviously tomorrow it's whoever gets to 4.5, so comebacks are possible. Now, I'm going to show you 2 games from the match between Wesley So and Dmitry Andreikin. This was just a spectacular game 1. This was one of the best ways to intro the show. We get a Taimanov Sicilian from Dmitry Andreikin. By the way, shouting out his YouTube channel there, Fair Chess. And Dmitry, from an early game, allowed Wesley to push him back and allowed Wesley to get aggressive. And look at all these pawns on light squares. Dmitry Andreikin hates his light squared bishop. Hates it. Absolutely hates his light squared bishop. Look at this absolute disrespect there to the light squared bishop. But he has to play defense right against Wesley. Wesley getting all up in his face, getting all his pieces. And then right here, Dmitry did something crazy. Dmitry plays chess right here, the way like 700 rated players, you know, no castling, all the pieces stuck backwards. But it's actually brilliant. And it's not like the 700 would play, because rook b4, and all of a sudden, Wesley's bishop on h6 is trapped. Like Rorschach said in Watchmen, you think I'm locked in here with you? You're locked in here with me. And g5, and that bishop is a goner. And Wesley has to now fight back. His bishop is legitimately being forced into the black position and trapped. Counterplay now from Wesley, but counterplay for Dmitry Andreikin. Queen f4, rook h5, the bishop is escaping. Queen c7, queen d2, and Dmitry's won the center pawn. He's completely winning. He's completely winning. Totally winning position for Andreikin. How did he expect? He's completely just crushing. And look at this position. Rook takes g3. Oh my god. Now, he didn't have to play that. Dmitry could have literally played e5 and like e4. And I mean, look at this connect 4 situation. Ah, not e4. What? Oh, queen d7. Oh, see, this is why I commentate the games. I thought, oh, computer showing e5, e4, just, you know, connect. No, it's not e4, because if e4, I just take on e4, and then I have queen d6. Again, this is why I'm commentating, and this is why they're playing. The idea of e5, wow, what a fascinating idea, is to open up the light squared diagonal. Just incredible. Wow. Well, Dmitry's a human being, so instead of that, he's just bulldozing Wesley's king. And his king is completely safe on d7, by the way. By the way, can we just say, he hates the light squared bishop. Light squared bishop hasn't moved, damn it. Hasn't moved. 30 moves have gone by. Light squared bishop hasn't moved. Dmitry playing a5. He's trying to get the light squared bishop out. Look at this. He heard me. And right here, one of the most insane sequences I've ever seen in top level chess occurs. Bishop back to f4. King g1 takes. King is hunted. Look at this king. Hunted back to its damn homeland on e1. And now Wesley's winning. Wesley's winning because Dmitry sacked the rook. He sacked the rook. Rook e5, rook d4. Did you see that? Let's just go through that one more time. It is mate in 2 moves. The only check in the position that makes sense. Queen a7 is mate. Wesley So is queen a7, just checkmate. Bishop e7, queen b7. Wesley So misses mate in 2 and plays rook d4. Now queen c2 or c5 are winning for black. He plays f5. Now, rook d5, setting up queen a7 again, because you sack the rook 3 different ways, and Wesley does it and forces a draw. Wesley forced a draw in a position where he had a mate in 5, mate in 8, I think it was. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Now, there were some decisive games in the match, of course, which we will get into right now. Yet Dmitry with black was playing a lot of goofy Sicilians. With white, Dmitry was playing sideline variations. We actually have an exchange Karl Khan here. Say what, Levy? What are you talking? It was d4. Yeah, but when you trade certain pawns, you get certain types of positions. For example, e4, c6, d4, d5, magic trick ready, edcd, knight f3, knight f6. Now here, if you ask me what the most illogical move for white is, I would say knight bd2, blocking your bishop, which is what Dmitry Andreikin played. So essentially, Wesley gets a position, which is this, but white doesn't have a dark squared bishop developed. So Dmitry just gets a worse position with white, essentially. But, you know, chess still has to be played, right? And we'll see if the chess speaks for itself or not, as Wesley just calmly asking questions to the white position, and Wesley just takes a free pawn. And Dmitry plays b4, and now Wesley plays bishop takes f3, and the point is that if you play queen takes f3, which of course looks like a, you know, very smart move here to not damage your kingside structure, queen d2, and some very curious ways of, you know, develop. Yeah, instead of that, Andreikin plays this move. And then, yeah, one of the just strangest games I've ever seen, as Wesley is just up 2 pawns for 0. Like, literally 0. Like, Wesley is just up 2 pawns, and he gives up one of them, but starts an attack on white's king and chops down a few more pieces, and he's just up 1 billion pawns, and he converts that into a devastating attack on white's king, and queen takes g3 check, and that's it. It's the end of the game, because after rook g3, just hg. And Dmitry also lost game 4 of this match with white in very, like, feeble fashion. Very strange day for Andreikin, because Andreikin, like, was better twice with black when he played black in some goofy Sicilian defenses. But the one time, the 2 games that Dmitry played with white, it was just a disaster. I mean, so I don't know. Wesley is up 3-1. But the story of the day, if you haven't watched it, is this matchup between Hikaru and Jan Krzysztof Duda. Now, if you have watched it, well, you know we are in for some fireworks. So Hikaru Nakamura is a world champion. He's a world champion. He just won the Fischer Random World Championship, right? And he flew here the next day. And he didn't fly private. I'm pretty sure he flew economy, all right? Maybe he flew business class. But he just showed up, and the question is he going to carry that momentum here, right? Is he going to carry that same momentum in? Because Fischer Random's a little different, but obviously you're riding high. So the first game, we have a Petrov, which is, Duda plays the Petrov, it's his main opening, right? So, like, you're going to show up, you're going to play your main lines, and we're going to see if Hikaru can carry over that initiative, right? So Hikaru plays this variation. Everything he's done so far is just developing his pieces. Knight bd2, trying to undermine that center knight, and then knight f1 to rotate. And we get a position like this. And here Hikaru seemingly uses some sort of opening idea, h4. Same side attack, bishop h4, impossible because the queen is overloaded, right? So the queen cannot guard both. But the other idea is to go knight to g5, creating an attack on h7 and weaken the black position a little bit before bringing in your second knight and continuing the attack. Now, it seems like, what are you attacking? Black is rock solid here. But now f5, a very, very committal move. Very committal move by Duda. And a few moves later, Hikaru just backed up and took on g6 and basically said, Duda, you overextended. And now check out this move, knight to g4. Look at this. You overextended. You left an important base of your position very weak. Queen g6, devastating attack. Knight g7 only move, then rook e7. And queen e7, you have bishop takes d6, but it's actually even worse than that. It's borderline mate. Queen h7, how do you stop it? Queen h7, queen h8, right? So, incredible, just belligerent, violent attack along the dark squares. 5 out of 6 pawns in the black position are on light squares. That means the dark squares are not being accounted for. Hikaru never stops. Look at this. Never stop, never settle. Whose slogan is that? Never stop, never settle. Is that Duracell? I don't know. Energizer Bunny? Never stop, never settle. Some sort of company. Anyway, thanks. You're welcome. Sponsor me. And Hikaru spent this entire game just finding a way in. Now, Duda is Polish Fighter 3000. He's not going to go away without a fight. But look at Hikaru replacing his bishop in the center of the board with the knight, right? Beautiful maneuvering. This move c3 from Hikaru a couple moves ago supported the center and made it possible for him to retreat, centralized, and the base of his operation stays completely rock solid. Duda tries to fight back on the H-file, and Hikaru finds just an absolutely vile sequence here, sacrificing the full knight on b7. The base of the black position on the opposite side. Hikaru beat him on the side of the board, on the king side, in the center of the board. He breaks in, and my man is about to beat up these pieces. He gets queen versus 3, which normally is bad, okay? But the queen takes everyone with her. 3 pawns up for white. It could be even worse than that. And he's got 2 passers, and he walks all of the pieces forward. Black just has no moves. C4, going to break down the black position. Look at this. All the pawns are going to fall. Hikaru going to take all the pawns. He's going to take all of Duda's toys away. Duda's going to have a king and 3 pieces. And, yeah, it's just not going to work. You got too many passers. And it takes Hikaru 63 moves, but Duda's defenses completely crumble. One of the pieces will need to sacrifice itself at some point, and rather than even getting to that point, Duda resigns. What a game. This is one of the most dominant displays thus far. Hikaru showing up with a fascinating opening idea against the pet line of Jan Krzysztof, and he takes a 1-game lead. In game 2 of this match, Duda fought back. Hikaru played into a Catalan with knight bd7, massive sideline. I mean, good lord, this is a massive sideline. Black can play c5, knight c6, bishop b4, immediate b5, I mean, a6, so many lines. Knight bd7, massive sideline, and setting up like this. Now, it's the Catalan. It's one of the most annoying setups that exists, all right? It's like people who used to play 3 tanks and 3 support or whatever in Overwatch. You know what I mean? Overwatch 1, not Overwatch 2. And Hikaru had this extra pawn for a long time. He had this extra pawn for a while, and Duda just built up this armada. You know what I mean? Like in pirate movies, when you got the whole squad pulling up, like in Pirates of the Caribbean. He had this giant armada ready to go. He improved this position effortlessly, slowly building up. All right? Bringing the queen back around this way. And finally, Hikaru took and allowed in the rooks. And it went from bad to worse. I mean, Hikaru's look at this. He's trying to fight back, but his position is strung too thin, right? Bishop b7, rook b7, and Duda well on his way to fighting back here in game number 2 to even the match. Knight to e4. Hikaru's getting in with knight to f6. I mean, good lord, that knight is juicy. Bishop d4, queen c4. Every move is winning. Duda plays knight d6. Okay, not the best move. He could have tried to win with queen c4. It was apparently even stronger, but he does it this way. Takes on d4, and Hikaru's just hanging on for. Look at Hikaru's position. I mean, his king and 2 rooks are basically in the equivalent of some sort of like nuclear fallout shelter over there. I mean, it's like well, nowadays speaking of nuclear, maybe not so lightly, but I mean, these pieces are just there's nothing to do. I mean, Duda can literally do anything he wants. The problem is he can't do anything he wants because he needs to win the game. So Duda finds, okay, I'm going to trade queens. Hikaru is a defensive magician. Duda's a fighter. Hikaru is a defensive magician, just holding on for long enough for his opponents to make some mistake. And all of a sudden, uh-oh, and the black knights are going to start dancing around the, Rook c2, knight c2. He still has an advantage. The only way to win here with white is to play knight to d6, to strip black the defense, and try to get these pawns moving together. Maybe f5, maybe rook c4 once you move the pawn. Duda plays knight f6 and b6 and gets his bishop disc, and he loses the pawn. And not only does Duda lose the pawn, Jan Krzysztof Duda goes on to give Hikaru a better position, but certainly he can defend, right? Rook and knight versus rook is a draw. All Duda has to do is get enough pawns off the board. Look at this, it's 2-1. He's in the driver's seat. All right, that's it. He's going to take this game down to its conclusion. He's going to make the right trades, but Hikaru keeping pieces on, keeping that knight at bay. No way. Ain't no way that this man, Hikaru Nakamura, is not just going to defend this game, but he's going to win it, right? Come on. No, my goodness. He just beat Duda in the worst way possible. And I said this when the afternoon game started and I sat down for commentary. Duda's down 2-0 in legitimately the worst way possible. The worst. Because he got everything he was beaten in his pet opening. The one opening that he probably knows better than any other opening in game 1. And in game 2, he was winning. And now he's down 2-0. And folks, if you thought it was over, it wasn't. In game 3, Hikaru played this, and Duda went for a Berlin. And Hikaru uncorked, I think, leftover preparation from the candidates tournament. He may confirm, deny, or not address that. I might be totally wrong. Hikaru plays an anti-Berlin and enters this very sharp line. Duda plays d5, very sharp line, opening up the center of the board. I'm about to take you through 19 moves of theory. Okay? All these moves, Every single one. The queen trade, sacrificing this pawn, free pawn for black. And white gets counterplay. White gets dominant control of the f5 square, a completely open f-file, and advanced pawns on the queen side. Keep in mind these advanced pawns on the queen side. Hikaru played 20 moves of prep instantly. He played 20 moves without thinking. Like, come on. Like, how do you deal with a guy that doesn't think for 20 moves and you're down 2-0? Oh, I'll tell you. You blunder immediately. And the point is that after GH, white is winning back this for free. And after bishop takes f5, ef5, there's this, and white is just crushing. So, let's go through that sequence. Why is white crushing? Why is this a crushing endgame? Black is restricted. Remember I told you the pawns on the queen side? Bishop c8 is going to happen in some endgame, and black's pawns are going to be lost. Now, there is one and only one hope here for Jan Krzysztof, and he finds it. It's to trade all the rooks. This is a draw. Why is this a draw? Because try to, in your mind, get all the pawns off the board. What's going to happen is white is going to end up with a passer and a 2-on-1. And black will have this. But the color of the pawn promoting in the corner has to match the bishop for it to be a winning endgame. So king, bishop, and h-pawn are not winning for white. Which means Duda can trade off the entire queen side despite losing a pawn, and it will be a draw. The bishop will walk along this diagonal waiting for this pawn to queen. The king will walk all the way over there. The bishop will sacrifice itself, and it will be king, bishop, and an h-pawn against, right? So that's going to be the endgame. Now, if white just had a g-pawn, it would be winning. That's the way that they're going to draw, right? So Hikaru plays bishop b5, just retreating the bishop, ready to exchange everything. And Jan Krzysztof can take on a5 here. But instead, he takes on b4. And he blunders something so disgusting, which is the move a6. And the move a6 entombs the bishop. It mummifies the bishop. And what's more disgusting about this is that the white king will literally walk up the board and go kill the bishop himself. This is like straight out of a mafia movie, like when the boss gets involved. And Duda resigned here. Duda resigned because he blundered this idea to entomb his bishop. Doesn't matter. He could come forward. He could protect like all this. He's going to run out of moves. He's going to run out of moves because h4, king d6, g5, take, king e6, g6, king f6, king d5. I just walk in. King d5, king g6, king c8. Yo, you push. Look at this. And the bishop covers this and the b5 square. It's disgusting. Hikaru wins 3 games. And Duda showed up for game 4, and he played a bomb cloud. I didn't like this, by the way. Can I just say that? I get it, and I get you're on tilt, but part of me, and I'm not a chess purist at all. Like, when Hikaru played a double bomb cloud against Magnus, I didn't care. When Hikaru played a bomb cloud once against Jeffrey Zhang, I was like, it's the last round. And then people were like, well, it could affect the stand. It could affect, like, the money prizes or whatever. This is such a... I guess you could... Any player can do whatever they want. Obviously, he's tilted, but... Yeah. Now, if he won this game, he would have been an absolute genius. If he drew this game, he would have been an absolute genius. He did not do either of those things. Hikaru just played a very good game, and Duda was worse the whole game because he played the Bon Cloud, and it works for Hikaru in Blitz. It doesn't work against people of equal caliber in Rapid Chess, and it took a little while, and, you know, it's all good, but Hikaru trades down into an endgame, always utilizing his better position, and after 4 games, he has a 4-0 lead. What the... I mean, come on. I mean, he just won a world championship. He shows up here, beats Jan Krzysztof Duda 4-0. He literally swept him on day 1. No, folks, this is bad. This is bad for the rest of the field. Wesley was a little bit shaky in like game 1, but then he really evened the ship. But he was really helped by the fact that Andreikin was just playing like lunatic when he was playing with the white pieces. And yeah, that's the standings. So Wesley's up 3-1. He needs 1.5 tomorrow. Hikaru needs half a point. Hikaru's match might already be 1 more game. And Nihal Sarin, Sam Sevian is interesting, and Giri Radjabov has to strike back. I hope you enjoyed the recap. Wow, I kept it at 29 minutes. I'm going to go hang out with the gang. We'll see. Maybe we're going to dinner, food, whatever. Yeah, keep following all the stuff on social media. Appreciate you all very, very much. And thank you. Thank you for all the support. It's been tremendous. I've been enjoying reading your comments and feedback and about the commentary and all that good stuff. So see you tomorrow for day 2. Or I'll see you later, because I'll probably make recaps of the Fall Classic, because Hans Niemann is playing. Grind never stops. So, appreciate y'all very much. You know the drill. Get out of here.